Got to get to the bottom of this. Really though, you know, one of the top thing that you do if you hate somebody but don't have an argument against them is you accuse them of being a bad thing, right? This is like not an alien tactic. I've done it to people. I normally try to do it alongside having arguments that I...
So like what he did to Cat Black, right? After making comments about her anatomy, he accused Cat Black of having harassed him, right? I need to just get the bleep sound or something so I can play it whenever I say something that I know YouTube's not gonna like. Yeah, but I believe that Vosh accused Cat Black of harassment.
I think meaningfully attack the positions that I dislike them having. But in my experience, usually this stuff gets dredged up by people who like
as if that is not an argument in itself.
Despise me. Like oftentimes it's by Nazis or like stalkers or people who harass me or whatever.
Oh wait, so in other words, like, right, if you don't like somebody clipping you, somebody showing those clips on Twitter, right? You could just be like, you got those from a Nazi, didn't you? Like, this is what White Nervosa did to me, right? She made a weird accusation against me, and I showed her shame. I showed her notoriety. I showed her defending Vosh, talking about tricking people by having him change his name so that he would beat the rap on some other allegations, which I don't know if we'll get to those. Usually he doesn't address this stuff, right? But you know, there is somebody in the Destiny Discord that Vosh actually did some legitimate harm to, and there is just no getting around it. There is no getting around that, and White Nervosa was involved in that, and she had the gall after that to make like accusations about me being I don't even know what she was accusing me of. Nothing she says ever makes sense, but that's White Nervosa. Yeah, this was after unsuccessfully trying to get my channel taken down like 3 different times, right? She literally tried to get me like wiped off of YouTube. But yeah, like she then said, you got those logs, you got those screenshots from the farm for kiwis, right? And it's just like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. And then, like, she was supposed to pay $1,000 to some charity, the charity of my choice, if I showed her where I got those from. If I showed her the origin of those logs, right? With the assumption being that I got them from a site that's actually harassed me a decent amount, a site that I am afraid to even go on, right? Yeah, the Guava Grange, right? This is, word is that she unalived Batman's parents. You know that, oh yeah, I heard she danced in the, Dance with the Devil of the Pale Moonlight. Keffels also blamed Nazis when it came to, that she told her fans to pretend to be black on Twitter. Yeah, this is what they do.
And they're like, yeah, gonna get him this time. But that's not like the entirety of the people who are involved with it. It's just like, it's definitely a noticeable tendency. So I don't know, sure, we'll go over the thread. I think a couple of people like DM'd or emailed me, asking me to debunk it or whatever. There's not really anything to debunk because debunking implies like a definite like fact, true, false thing. And if there was anything to debunk, there would have to be an established premise. If the established premise is we're about to look at a bunch of like thread items that look sussy or whatever, then that's a fact, right? I think that a lot of the sussy stuff has been deliberately taken out of context. The main sussy stuff has...
Gotta love Keffels. Wait, does Keffels still stream on Twitch?
Only been mildly taken out of context and is justified primarily through like the broader framework that people at the time present to the streams understood, but obviously that's how the internet works. So the first fact of the matter, okay? We have this guy. He looks like this, so he must be a pedophile. That's case number 1. Or a bit of evidence submitted to the court.
I don't know. I don't think that's the profile. There are some streamers around like Twitch, politics. There are some streamers who do match the stereotypical profile. And again, I'm going to say this with the caveat that you probably shouldn't be looking for like a profile of this is what a Pedialyte drinker looks like. This is what it's not like they don't all look a certain way.
So most of these videos are going to be oh wow.
Although it's funny when somebody with a sussy take does happen to look like that, but
like, oh my god. Okay, the first like 6 of these videos are all going to be the same argument that just got brought up multiple times in stream. Usually because people in chat would argue with me about it, but I still said what I said, right? So okay, so here's the thing, all right? We can make an argument. So a lot of the stuff in these clips actually does sound really bad. I'm not gonna pretend otherwise, because like it does, right? So the question is, what can I do with that? And the only thing I can really do is go, like, okay, well, here's the explanation. You can choose to believe it or not. But given that's the only thing I can do, you know, you can't really strive for more. So basically, right after I started streaming, okay, I came up with a hot take, all right? I came from Destiny's community. I love hot takes. I'm all about hot takes. Which is that, guys, did you know that child slavery is bad? Child slavery is not super common in our economic production, in our like modes of production, our supply lines.
So when he says a hot take, what does he actually mean? He means a take meister. Let me just do this again. ContraPoints has gone over this. I don't think she mentioned it in relation to Vosh, although she did mention Vosh in relation to Cat Black. But this is like, oh my god. This is the Mott and Bailey, right? A take meister. I call it a take meister, right? It's a take meister because you have a take that sounds really sus, that sounds really bad. You do it on purpose. You're baiting people, right? You want people to say, this piece of shit said this horrible thing, right? You want that. And then you bring them on your stream to talk to them, and you actually say, like, well, actually what I meant was this, right? You retreat to the Mott, right? You got the Mott, which is defensible. You got the Bailey, which is totally undefensible, right? And you somehow ship of Theseus your Bailey, your ridiculous take that everybody knows is wrong, into a Mott, which is like, well, you know, I really can't have much of a point with that problem with that, right? And in this case, the Mott being that forced child labor is bad. Yeah, sure, that's true, right? And the Bailey being that it's just another that CSA is just another or the creation of CSEM. And if you don't know these acronyms, like, I don't want to say the thing that they're actually about, right? But child exploitation materials, right? If you know what I'm saying, then, you know, he basically does a whataboutism. That's the Bailey, is like, oh, you think that child exploitation materials are bad? Well, what about your cell phone, right? What about your cell phone? And then he walks it back to, well, you know, all I'm really saying is that, you know, children are also exploited in the production of electronics and the creation of clothing. Like, right, there's a lot of things that people use that are that come from that kind of exploitation. The problem is, though, that what you've just done is normalized the exploitation materials by doing a whataboutism, right? So all Vosh cares about, and like, look, let me give him some credit here. I don't think he was saying that because he likes that kind of, because he uses that kind of material, because he views that kind of material, because he finds that kind of material enticing, right? I think that he was doing this for attention. But Vosh, you ran over the victims of child exploitation in your attempt to get attention, in your attempt to make a name for yourself, right? And that's gross. That's fucked up. I'm supposed to say that word.
Child labor is.
YouTube really doesn't like the F word.
You know what I mean? Like, very often it'll be child labor, which is slavery in everything but name. A lot of the stuff that gets mined up or used in like raw material senses is done so basically at gunpoint. You know, we get a lot of stuff from parts of Africa where
basically Ronan.
Are still functionally warlords. In Latin America, like it's a big part of our production line, right? That's probably not a good thing. So an argument that I admit,
I feel like there's a different way to make this argument too, right? If really what you want to do is bring attention to, children being exploited in the supply lines, child labor, that sort of thing, there's a different way to make that argument. But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to do the Mott and Bailey, and so that's Vosh's problem, right? That is his moral failing. Oh my God, thank you, Buffy. Yeah, please juice that tweet. That is Vosh's moral failing there. Not that I think that he wants for exploitation materials to be more legal or more available, but that you're going to bring something up that is really harmful, and you don't really mean it. You don't really care about it. There was no effort on that. Like, right? Somebody could bring this up and say, and that is why we gotta talk about, these labels, these clothing labels, right? You give them an action step, right? If you're really concerned about this, give us an action step for how we can maybe either put pressure on the companies that are doing this, or support those companies less, or give us some kind of actionable thing. But Vosh isn't interested in that. He is literally, at this point in his career, this is old Vosh, he's literally just interested in making a name for himself, right?
Is that if you buy, say, fast fashion, which I'm currently wearing, by the way.
He's more interested in owning vegans with the no ethical consumption take. Yeah, which just ends up at at that point, then just like, that's just black pill. That's just everything is meaningless. Life is misery and everything is fucked up. So you might as well do whatever you want, right?
You are participating in an economic incentive. You are bolstering the economy, the supply line, which involves the abuse of children.
But you don't care about that. That's the problem. Him and Destiny share that way of speaking, where they speak so smugly and self-assured, but they actually know nothing. They're pulling this out of their butts. If you pay attention, you'll notice a lot of people in the debate sphere copying a bigger streamer's way of talking, manner of speech. Now, some of this might happen like unconsciously, right? If you listen to somebody a lot like Hassan, then you're gonna find yourself like using some of the terminology that he uses. I try to filter out the ableism, but I mean, you can tell that because Hassan is such a big and influential leftist streamer that there might be certain things that I say that like follow that pattern, but I don't think that anybody is ever gonna feel like I'm like ripping off like Hassan's way of speaking. But yeah, they're a vat of clones. Well, that's what Bad Empanada's take was about the human clout centipede, right? And he was talking about the takes, right? That Vosh would make a take, eat it, shit it out, and then pass it on to the next debate streamer, like whether it be like Xander Hall or Demon Mama or whoever. But I think it's true about like the cadence. I think that, the way of speaking, certain phrases that just get used. Vosh speaks identically to Destiny. I mean, that was what he was concentrating on. That was what he was trying to do, right? Become like, I guess, a lefty Destiny.
And my argument was that in a lot of ways, that's not very different from buying child pornography.
Critical support for BE for calling for the redaction of Matt Walsh.
Because in both cases, you are paying money into a system where, as a product of whatever, product you've received, children get hurt. It was basically like a hyperbolic way of trying to agree on like the severity of how bad this is. And to be clear, by the way, I do think it's really disgusting how in the West, like, you can just have clothing brands have...
You have no idea who Destiny is? You are fortunate. You are fortunate indeed. I mean, it's easier to imagine on Twitch, though. Destiny, so a little history, right? Destiny got kicked off the platform. I don't know if it was really because of Keffels. Does anybody remember, like, literally what it was that got Destiny kicked off the platform? But regardless, it was during his conflict with Keffels. That's when Destiny got kicked off the Twitch platform. He went to YouTube, and Keffels was like, well, basically, this is the end of Destiny. I did it, right? And it turns out that Destiny has, like, I don't know, he's getting close to having doubled his channel size while Vosh is stuck at the same size. So yeah, it just opened up the opportunity for him to dual stream on Rumble. I think, did he have a Cozy arc? Did Destiny ever stream? I know he engaged with a lot of Cozy creators, but I think he's on Kick, he's on Rumble, and he's on YouTube, and he was able to kind of get into some of those Manosphere shows like Fresh and Fit, stuff like that. The Kyle Rittenhouse comments. Okay, I'm trying to remember. There was the dipshit protesters thing. That's what got him. That's what lost him partner and affiliate, right? That's when he lost monetization on Twitch for the dipshit protesters comment. I don't know about the Kyle Rittenhouse though. I think Destiny had Fuentes on a stream, or was it Trans? Yeah, I don't even know. But yeah, he flocked around for long enough that he actually did find out. It's kind of amazing how long he got away with a lot of stuff on Twitch that other people would have been banned for. But yeah, he did eventually get banned, but it ended up working to his favor. He had a stream with Nick Fuentes shortly after his Twitch contract was ended in 2020 because he said foolishness about Rittenhouse, and in 2022 his contract was ended suddenly for unspecified. So we still don't know. Now Keffels has claimed responsibility for that, but she's also said that she was just kidding. He started out and became famous by debating, JonTron, Lauren Southern, all kinds of people like that. But around the pandemic, during the uprising, after George Floyd, he said the thing about dipshit protesters, the thing that I will not repeat, but you can look up if you want to, right? Because this is literally what got Destiny banned, and I'm afraid even repeating his words would put me in danger of losing my platform here, so I'm not going to do that. Lost track of the manifestos. Yes, so many manifestos, and most of them about trans people. I thought it was when he said that the protesters... yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Keffels has been caught, straight up lying a lot. That's true. FD called him Nebraska Steve. Ever since that, I refuse to call him anything else. I mean, you could call him Nebraska Steve. You can call him, what is it? Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bonal II. He's had at least 2 manifestos, 2 tranifestos, feckless, and like when he does this is the thing. He's got like all these people that are like Destiny. That you can call them like the waiting room for Destiny, right? That's what they market themselves as. They know that Destiny's got a big following, so if they suck up to Destiny, they're gonna get some of that following as long as they're not streaming at the same time. So you got your Chud Logics, you got your Lonerbox, you got people like that will try to do the same thing. Yeah, Lonerbox had a tranifesto, didn't he? Part of it was about poly, part of it was I think there was one non-trans person that he mentioned in his manifesto, but I still call it the tranifesto. Manifesto stuff is just, listen, I got one written by me. Like I feel like Dylan Burns wrote a manifesto about yours truly, right? He turned my plea that he give a damn about platforming transphobes and letting them just like spew tropes with no check at all. I just was like, could you not let him gish gallop? Could you just do that? Right? He turned that into me saying that he was transphobic, and then did this big manifesto. He had one of his spies come in and like record my mods just like goofing off and stuff, and take everything super seriously that they said. And but that was long ago. Yeah, I've had a few manifestos. Wait, I've lost track, chat. I've lost track. I've had quite a few manifestos written about me, and it feels like each one was less tethered to reality than the last, right?
Like they can just use that labor. And then it's here in the US and it's like, oh,
Keffels is a lovable liar. I mean, some people say she's wait, what is it? A little rascal?
well, you know, like it's like barely even surprising. All of our shit gets made in like sweatshops in Bangladesh by old women and 14-year-old girls. And like, oh yeah, well, you know, that's like how it is. And well, no, that's not how it has to be, right? Actually, you know, I don't think we would accept that excuse when it comes to sexual abuse, for example. My argument was basically...
Wait, okay, so somebody in chat brought this up earlier. Here's what he's missing, right? For clothes to be made, you don't need to exploit children, right? The more exploitation is generally done to get the cost point of production down and then make a bigger profit, right? So the same way that capitalism squeezes us at both ends, tries to reduce our pay, increase our hours, and in this case, you know, in the case of child labor, increase our, you know, when the low end of age as far as where our career starts, right? And exploit you even more if you're younger, and then sell it, you know, raise the prices, you know, extract more from you when you buy it, right? That's, you know, that's all true. But it doesn't necessitate. You can have clothes made like without exploiting children. On the other hand, with one exception, which I don't know if Vosh has talked about this, right? With only one exception that I can think of, which yes, Twitch poll people do often bring this up too, and I think it's disgusting. CSEM cannot be made without exploiting children. Now there is like a theoretical argument for digitally created CSEM, right? And that got somebody banned off of Twitch. I won't mention his name because I think he likes me talking about him. I think he loves it when anybody on Twitch talks about him. But yeah, if you're familiar with the history of Twitch, yeah, that somebody had a take about that, and Twitch just was not having any of it because it's gross to be like, well, what about if it's digitally created though? Okay, what about if you're banned? What about if you get the fuck off of Twitch, right? But yeah, this is like, there's a major difference here.
It comes across...
He's lying about his position. His argument was that since he accepts one thing, he cannot denounce the other. Well, we cannot denounce the other thing, yeah.
Process hypocritical to me that we drew the line on like commodity production.
There's a labor suit against Bohemian Grove? What?
That involves the abuse of children? No. Nuh-uh. Unless it's involved in all these industries the economy relies on. For child pornography, which is totally disconnected from like the broader economic system, nah, you're in jail, buddy. But for the rest of it, we accept it. And my argument with that was essentially like, well, that's disgusting. So if you can imagine, what's the worst possible way that a person could express the position that I just did? What if they challenged chat to argue how one was worse than the other by saying that unless proven otherwise, under the currently accepted ethical system, both of them would actually be considered legal? And it's only due to that inconsistency that we only consider one of them illegal. If you could imagine hypothetically, what is the worst way in a format where everything gets recorded and distributed out of context, a person could possibly make that argument, you know, if you could even fathom such a thing. Here, look, that's literally all the clips at the top of the thread. Hey, wait, out of curiosity, who here was around way back when? I only had like 200 or 300 viewers concurrent at the time. Who was around back then? What's up? Not my ass? Well, some people's asses, to be sure. My hope, and I think this is genuinely because...
There we go, Buffy. I pinned your message in YouTube. You've pinned it in Twitch chat. If you want to look at the pinned message, that is my tweet. This is the tweet for this stream. If you want to help us out here, if you want to bring more people in who might enjoy the stream, please give that tweet some love on Twitch and on YouTube. And also, if you're on YouTube, use your thumb. Use your thumb, okay? I really appreciate those thumbs. It's the only meaningful way of giving feedback to YouTube beyond just watching the stream to let them know that this is a good stream and more people should see it, so.
I was still fresh out of Destiny's community. My hope was that the way this would happen, the way this would go down, would be like, I would have a really inflammatory take here. Like, you know, hey, under our ethical system, like all this should be illegal. We only say it's illegal for CB because we don't want to challenge.
I feel like the difference is, though, that Vosh wasn't really interested in challenging the means of production under capitalism, and how, you know, especially in certain countries, that like the children are exploited. And that, and you know, the Republicans would love to set back the clock, set back our laws to the bad old days where that sort of thing was illegal. That sort of thing was legal in the United States. I feel like if he'd really cared about that, he would have made the argument in a very different way. All Vosh ever cared about was himself, though, right? He doesn't care about trans people. He doesn't care about children getting exploited by corporations. He cares about Vosh. He cares about his ego. He cares about his bag. He cares about Vosh, right? That's
like the hegemony of child labor in shirt production or computer production or blah blah, right? What I thought is I'd say stuff like that, and then people would be like, "That's ridiculous. I think these are totally morally distinct," and then they would come on and argue with me, and it would be like,
he only cares about winning the debate. True.
Like a platform to excuse me, to hit home how bad the child labor stuff is. I thought that the provocative take would be like a prompt for people to engage with. How naive I was. Boop. All these clips, well, wait, almost all these clips are from exactly that same arc. If you could, would you have rephrased that take? Yeah. All I would have to say, and this is the position that I've had, and I think anyone who watched back then made like pretty clear what I was saying, because I've never heard a pedophile try to defend pedophilia by saying it was like child.
Oh yeah, good point, Raven. Like in under our system of exploitation, there are definitely people that are too poor to be able to get ethically sourced clothing, right? Which you need, but you know what you don't need? Child exploitation materials, right? There's like, right, you need clothes, you need food, you've got a hierarchy of needs. Nowhere on that hierarchy is the thing that Vosh is comparing to the production of clothing, to the production of electronic goods, right, utilizing children, right? So there's a huge difference.
Child slavery, which was bad. That's an odd way to go about that. I think that if you're charitable, you can understand that it's a pretty, like, bad way of phrasing the argument. But as somebody who's seen a lot of, like, map Twitter insanity where people get taken down or shoe quote tweets people or whatever else, that's not normally a way that pedophiles typically defend themselves. So that's really a charitability thing.
It's not until you make it, right? But do you see how that argument could easily be co-opted? I mean, look, they'll take any argument that they can get, right? And a whataboutism, which is the way that you present it. You present it as a whataboutism. Like, I feel like, Vosh, you shouldn't be surprised if somebody that's interested in, the exploitation of children for CSEM, co-ops your argument. Because it's just right there laid out for them, right? It's.
But anyway, yeah. Oh, by the way, to be clear, these clips all sound terrible because these come at the like tail end of me arguing with chat for like 40 or 50 minutes to try to like defend the take that they're not morally comparable. And of course, that's where you get like the clip chimping, right? I've probably said like 80 things this stream where if you clipped only one sentence, it would sound bad. You have to be really careful.
Okay, so he used the phrase clip chimping. Do we all know what that is? Do we all know what clip chimping is? Let's say that I was talking about Vosh and I quoted something that he said that I find offensive, right? And then somebody made a clip of like after I said, this is what Vosh said. And, before like right while I'm quoting it, right? If somebody took that and said, no comment chick says this, that's a clip chimp. I've had it done to me, right? Dylan Burns famously did this to me. When he literally mischaracterized who I was talking about in a clip, right? I said, I clearly said Dylan's fans, Dylan stans, yada, 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 right? And he cut that part off so that he could then say, she's saying this about me. She's saying this about me, but I never did this. No, Dylan, I didn't accuse you of doing it. That's what a clip chimp is, right? You don't want to deal with what comes before the clip starts. So you cut it off, and it's really convenient, right? And if you're a bigger content creator, then you can count on the fact that your 500 people in your chat are going to see that versus like my, 60 people in my chat are going to see that, and that most people are going to come away from that. Oh yeah, NCC said this about Dylan. Yeah, that's right. That's what happened, right? So that's what clip chimping is, right? It's something that like smaller creators have to worry about more than larger creators. Because if you're a larger creator and somebody takes a clip out of context, all you have to do is play this and be like, all right, so that sounds pretty bad, right? Let's listen to the whole clip. Oh, that puts it in a whole nother context. Oh, that completely changes everything, right? It's pretty dramatic. In fact, that's the exact response I got in chat when I showed the whole clip, right? People, like it's pretty dramatic when somebody's cutting off a clip at a certain point in order to make it sound like you're saying something that you're not really saying. Whereas with Vosh, that stuff is a lot less clear, depending on the clip in question. I think there is one or two examples. I think there are one or two examples of where some context was cut out that actually is somewhat exculpatory. That actually makes what he's saying sound less bad. What's up, V? Good to see you. The Coolsville sucks strategy? Oh, I'm not familiar with that. I don't think that Vosh is an enthusiast of cheese pizza. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that he's okay. I do think that he's okay with making light of it for lulz. Yeah, that's the problem, right? And it has the effect of like normalizing that stuff. When you make the argument as a whataboutism, which is what he did. Oh, you think this is bad? Well, what about your clothes? What about your cell phone? What about your computer? Then you kind of normalize it, right? Well, I guess it's, I thought it was bad before, but if it's just as bad as the clothes that I'm wearing or the cell phone that I'm using, then maybe how bad really is it? Do I really have the moral standing to condemn it? Right, that has an effect of normalizing it.
With stuff, where the beginning and end.
There's no context that makes normalization of,
gets cut off like that.
Like zoophile, like drawn stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of...
Why? I just, maybe I don't understand the debate culture, but I don't get the point of weighing in on, what he just said, right? Like, who asked? Is this controversial? Is somebody trying to ban, unless you're spending $2,000 for a Linux-based Fair phone, you're basically no different. Yeah, basically, than somebody who consumes CSEM. Basically, the argument. In Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed, a news person goats the heroes for a spicy quote. One of them says, you're trying to make me say Coolsville sucks. And then they take Coolsville sucks. Yeah, that's there you go. That's a great example of a actual clip chimp. No legal art, or look at what Matt Walsh does, right? Look at what Matt Walsh does. If you've ever seen the stuff that made the cut in What Is a Woman versus the actual full interviews where they exist, right? You're gonna see that they're strategically cut in certain ways to make them look a certain way. The one that comes to mind is he's talking to the professor, and he basically shows the beginning of the professor's response to What Is a Woman, and cuts it and does the equivalent of a SpongeBob 2 hours later, when really he's actually not cutting all that much out. Yeah, to make it look like the dude just droned on forever and ever, also you're asking kind of a complicated question, right? You're explain social construction X that we don't usually think about, right? That we usually take for granted. It's almost impossible to only consume ethically, but it's really easy to not consume, exploitation materials. True. Who cares if it's an illegal argument? Just a moral argument. Don't. Yeah. Well, you're going to get into that too, like legal arguments versus moral arguments.
Child pornography
In another case.
So, as I said, to reaffirm the themes here, the exact argument, the context, which I think is actually really clear if it wasn't cut off at.
Why are we looking at Vosh looking at his clips? Because I feel like he doesn't really do a good job of refuting anything. He doesn't really have much of an excuse. He's not, adding context in a way that makes these things, not bad. And I also want to show you a little bit of how he runs his cult of personality, right? Because that's who he's doing this for. That's the benefit that, the benefit, it's for the benefit of his community. It's for the benefit of people who already have like a slightly parasocial relationship towards him. They enjoy his content and they want to continue enjoying his content. And what he's doing here is basically providing them with an excuse to continue enjoying his content without sounding like, without thinking of themselves as being, bad people for doing that, right? He'd do a lot better just to disavow his passwords. That's the thing that you can't do, though, as a debate streamer. That is the format. So he got kind of caught up in the format, right? The debate format established by Destiny, carried on by Vosh, Demon Mama, Xander Hall, etc., right? It's predicated on a series of W's. I mean, look, these people will bitch about W and L culture, right? But I feel like in some ways they're responsible for its creation. You're sort of gaining momentum over presenting your following with what seems to be a set of wins, right? And for that to build momentum, for that to present, like that's how it works, right? They feel like they're in the chat of a winner, right? So whenever you walk back something that you say, well, that is you taking the L, and that's just not allowed. That will actually slow your progress. So, I mean, like I said, these people, it's not that they're like the worst people in the world. In Vosh's case, it's not that he's actually engaging in any of these activities. It's that he only cares about one thing and one thing only. That's Vosh. They only care about their career. They don't care about, like, and as a leftist content creator, that is, look, we all have to like worry about having enough money. And if you want to do this for a living, you need to, have a certain amount of viewership. You need to have a certain amount of support. That's what keeps me, coming back. If I don't get, subs and stuff like that, then I have to stop streaming and find something else to do, right? But you would hope that you could, if you're a leftist content creator, that there's something else that comes before that, right? That you're not gonna, sell your soul for fame and fortune.
Exactly this point was that under our system.
Oh, speaking of which, you've got 5 minutes to possibly get yourself out of the bottom of the hour ad break. I'm sorry, it's the bottom of the hour ad break this time. Comes twice an hour, and it's 1 minute and 30 seconds of whatever ads Twitch decides to serve you with. Right now, I can't help you get out of that, but you might be able to help yourself. And one way you can do it is through buying a sub for yourself, getting a little Persona 2 icon next to your name there. That'll get you out of the ad break. Another way is if you have an Amazon Prime, you can take Bezos's money and you can repurpose it, send some of it to me through a Twitch Prime sub. And the third way is if you get lucky enough, you might be selected. You might be given a gift sub, but I can't guarantee that'll happen. It's more likely to happen if you are active in chat, though.
Where we do allow billions of products to be made with child slave labor, in that system, it shouldn't be, because our system is so to begin with, that like the distinction is being made purely out of convenience. A distinction made as long as it doesn't interrupt the supply lines. Wow, that does sound bad without context. Yeah, it certainly does. That's why I can't say I debunk anything. I can only say, you know, if you want to be uncharitable, you can. Or if you want to be charitable, you can. Vosh, you literally said that exact sentence. I saw the entire thing. See, look, an original.
You beat Persona 3 FES. Is that the one with the FMC?
Yes, yeah, I don't remember the exact wording of anything.
I'm kind of mad that the reboot of Persona does not come with the FMC.
I did 4 days ago, let alone 4 years ago. But it's, you know, it was a poorly phrased argument pretty much no matter what. No getting around that. This was arguing with Cult of Dusty. I remember Cult of Dusty.
Attached to them. I assign this.
I mean, Dusty's still around.
To literally everything. I don't even think that like owning child pornography is immoral because it also attached to them. I assign.
Yeah, exactly the same thing.
What?
I'm talking to somebody here and I'm trying to bait them into arguing like well, you need to
You think they're gonna add the FMC as DLC? I mean, it's more likely that they would have to like reboot the game with the FMC, right? Because you know that's not just adding like a sprite. It's like adding mainly social links, right? Yeah, portable. FES just has some extra content, and then there's like the answer. There's a lot of Persona 3. Ian, why do you even have to go there? Context doesn't make it sound better.
Explain how one is okay, but one is not okay. This isn't even an 8-second clip. It's a clip of somebody else clipping me. So Dusty's watching a clip chimp. Like, it's literally like a meta clip. You know what I mean? That being said, in retrospect, like, seeing all of this, acknowledging it, I'm making it incredibly easy to clip chimp me here, right? But they're, like, cutting out me saying because or explaining anything. Who's Cult of Dusty? Just a content creator that I interacted with before. This is actually from a separate thing. So this one right here, pretty much no matter what. No getting around that. This was arguing with, Cult of Dusty. I remember Cult of Dusty.
Attached to them. I assign this to literally everything. I don't even think that like owning child pornography is immoral because it also.
What did he say? I don't even think that owning exploitation materials is a what? Did anybody catch his words there? Is a moral... Reload will probably not get the FMC, especially if if it has anime cutscenes. I've also noticed about Persona 3 that it's got a lot of those anime cutscenes cut out. Did anybody catch what he's saying there? Immoral, okay. He said immoral.
Attached to them. I assign.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. I'm talking to somebody here and I'm trying to bait them into arguing like well, you need to explain how one is okay, but one is not okay. This isn't even...
I mean, here's where I'll point out what debate culture does to you, right? I just sounded like a monster because I was trying to win the argument. Yeah, like, look, if you're trying to win an argument about mome rats and slavy toves, things that don't exist, things that don't matter, that's one thing. You know, if it's just an intellectual pissing contest or whatever, that's one thing. But here we're talking about something that does have victims. That's what's so grotesque about this all. I'm gonna chug the rest of my beer. What if someone there is a survivor? Well, see, that's his community is basically gonna tell that person to toughen up, Buttercup. They're just gonna.
An 8-second clip. It's a clip of somebody.
They don't have any space for people with feelings because apparently facts don't care about your feelings, and neither does Vosh. He doesn't care about your trauma. He doesn't care about any of that stuff, right?
Somebody else clipping me. So Dusty's watching a clip chimp.
Yeah, exactly, V.
Like it's literally like a meta clip. You know what I mean? That being said, in retrospect, like seeing all of this, acknowledging it, I'm making it incredibly easy to clip chimp me here, right?
I just wonder what the possible, like, how do you add context to that? He doesn't think it's immoral, or he doesn't think it's necessarily immoral? Like, what's the added context? Is he going to say if it's digitally produced without the involvement of any actual children? Because like that's literally, like I said before, that's the take that's gotten people banned from Twitch before. Twitch has a problem with that take, and I would say I have a problem with that take too, mainly because it normalizes. It's you know, if digital versions of these kind of materials exist, you're basically normalizing the act, right? So yeah, I've got a problem with that, and I don't think I'm alone in that, right? Look, Twitch lets a lot of stuff slide, right? You know, people, if you watch some of these like debate lord streamers, right? If you watch like Chud Logic, you're gonna hear like a lot of slurs, right? You're gonna hear a lot of bullshit, and you know, it's stuff that Twitch apparently doesn't have a problem with, right? If you say something that is so extreme that you actually get like banned from Twitch, like that kind of says something, right? I mean, Vosh PDF allegations are strong, but I prefer to call him out on his. Well, see, here's the deal: calling him a an Adobe. God, I shouldn't bring the company's names into it. I know this is the only way I have of saying this without like triggering the demonetization fairy to come by and plop me on the head with a demonetization blast. But the thing that's disturbing about this stuff is not his behavior, because like I admitted this up front, the account that made these allegations didn't just say like he's got these bad takes. They said he was, you know, they equated him with that, right? They said he was God, I gotta figure out a way of saying this without getting demonetized. But they said that he engaged in the harmful act, not just that he had harmful views. There we go.
But they're like cutting out me saying because or explaining it.
It's sounding like, yeah, that is the main smoking gun here. We're gonna get to that. I can see that clip coming up here, right? That's the very next clip that he's gonna go over. And this is the cheese pizza enthusiast. I don't like to use the QAnon terminology, but I get what you're saying there, Mickey.
Anything. Who's Cult of Dusty? Just a content creator that I interact with before. Oh, this is actually from a separate thing. So this one,
they say he drinks pita. Like, see, there we go again. But then I'm like, that's like a trademark, and like I gotta be careful. Like, I'm sure that the company that makes the electrolyte supplement, you know, for kids does not appreciate having that used. But yeah, most people understand if I say if I use that term, private huff.
Right here is 100% pure dishonesty. This is, I talked about...
He makes bank doing this stuff. Yeah, and he doesn't care who he hurts in the process, right? And that's the whole thing. I don't think that... I don't have any information about his, like, personal behavior in real life, and I don't really think that's the point here. I think the point is normalizing this stuff, turning this stuff into debate fodder, really kind of, like, undermines the seriousness of the harm that he puts salt and sugar. Oh my God.
This with a non-compete. This was the one where non-compete was defending Luna Oi, calling me a pedo, and I explained why. Not only was it not pedophilic, but it was clipped to deny the next sentence, which was part of a broader argument against the abuse of children. So this one is like, it's not just a like you have to be charitable to believe me thing. This one's just a lie, the way it's being framed. But let's play it. I was playing Majora's Mask.
Okay? It is possible. Please right now, uncuck your dumb shit lib-cuck SJW brains. And
so the context of this, by the way, was that I was arguing how do I phrase this best? Okay. What's something...
Okay, now, like, here's what he's doing, right? Now, this is a clip that's potentially, like, he doesn't really have an explanation for this, right? He doesn't have a good explanation for this. But what he's going to do is he's going to pause it a bunch, he's going to give the context, and he's going to talk about the overall argument that he was making, right? Now, let's go over his overall argument, right? His overall, where he lands at is to say that, relationships between underage people and people who are not underage should be illegal. He agrees that age of consent should exist, right? Not objectionable. That's a pretty mild take there. But how does he get there, right? He gets there by basically acknowledging what and agreeing with what got Milo Yiannopoulos canceled, which is the idea that such a relationship could have positive outcomes. He's not getting away. This is the allegation that Vosh is not beating right here. This is the allegation that there is no way that, yeah, it's called deflection. There's no way that Vosh beats this allegation, because this is literally Milo's take. Now Milo's take is like a granted clause within his take. So granted that this could have positive outcomes, because most of the time it has very, very, very negative, very, very, very deleterious outcomes, it should remain illegal, right? That's the problem. That's the part I have a problem with, right? I don't take that for granted. I don't agree with that. And I find it disturbing that he thinks that the violation of a child's consent could have positive outcomes, right? And I'm sorry, Vosh, but like, if that means that I have a cucked lib SJW brain, then so be it, okay? If that makes me a woke scold, then I'm a woke scold, right? Because I'm not going along with you there, right? It's a nested clause within his overall take, which isn't objectionable, that is objectionable, right? That's the thing that people have. And whenever you try to pin a Vosh person down on this and say this that he said was just disgusting, right? They will say, first of all, that that's not what he was talking about. No, he literally said that. He affirmed that. He not only affirmed this, that he agrees with Milo on this, but he said that if you don't agree, then you have a dumb SJW libcuck brain or whatever the hell he said, right? You're really dumb if you don't agree with this. You're really stupid if you don't agree with this. So yeah, that, and so now watch what he does with this, right? Because this is really dishonest.
That child abusers tell themselves. What's an argument that they make? What's a thing that they say to themselves to justify what they've done? Most people have a pretty heavily ingrained belief that the abuse of children is bad. But a lot of people who engage in that behavior anyway will lie to themselves and say, oh, well, it's bad broadly, but in this specific instance, it's fine. You know, like, okay, broadly it's bad, but this right here, that's true love. I've seen so many map defenders say something to that effect on Twitter. I think it's a pretty common lie that people tell themselves. I think it's pretty disgusting. And what I was trying to do was construct an ethical argument against that.
But look, you're saying that your ethical argument is a, rule utilitarianism argument, right? So utilitarianism basically is the belief that moral questions should be decided, ethical questions should be decided by which choice creates the greatest happiness to unhappiness balance, right? So, creates more happiness and dissipates more unhappiness, or creates less unhappiness, right? That's the correct moral choice, right? So he's talking about just kind of a silly, naive utilitarianism, which would say, that's just that's how we should proceed, right? And so then you have to take it on a case by case basis. And if you find an instance in which there is a positive outcome, then you can justify the behavior in just that case. And that he's saying that he has a more mature form of utilitarianism. And granted, utilitarianism, rule or otherwise, it's not a mature philosophy. It's something that you read about in high school or freshman year in college, and it's from the 1800s. It's not taken very seriously anymore. There's a lot of absurdity that comes with a utilitarian worldview, right? Utility Monster, right, is the one that is kind of famous from comic books and and pop culture, right? A lot of times a villain in a comic book is somebody who embodies like a utilitarian mindset, but takes it to an absurd extreme where it's monstrous, right? That's what we call a utility monster. This isn't, he thinks this is like high level stuff, but it's not. It's not really taken that seriously in philosophy. But yeah, that's the point that he's trying to make. And in doing so, he kind of grants something to the Milo Yiannopoulos of the world. He basically says Milo is right in the sense that it could have positive outcomes, right? I feel like the violation of a child's consent in and of itself overrides anything that he could possibly be talking about here. But yeah, he's going to have a different way. He's going to try to recontextualize it. So
in a non-case-by-case basis. Essentially, even if you took the assumption that any specific delusional belief that your particular child abuse is not abuse, you could still make a consistent ethical argument against child abuse at all. Or to put it another way, you could easily shut down pedos who say stuff like that. And I think I actually explain how in the full.
But see, the thing is, you just don't. I don't agree that you have to grant them the possibility of positive outcomes for something like that, right?
Clip of this perfectly
and
well.
I think it's kind of grotesque that you want to do that. It's just emblematic of this whole debate culture that where you're just looking to win. And you're not caring about who you roll over in the process to win an argument.
It was a distinction between act and rule utilitarianism.
You're right, Phoenix. This is all navel-gazing, horse poopy.
Essentially, the argument is something like this, okay? You know what's not good? You know what you shouldn't do? You shouldn't take bricks and throw them over a highway overpass, slamming them into the windshields of people below.
Okay, so now this is just gross. This is dishonest, right? He's trying to, this is the recontextualization I was talking about, right? He is trying to put something, into his argument, an idea that just wasn't there. But let go on, Vosh.
Correct? That's a bad thing to do. Can we agree? Clipped. He believes it's bad to throw the bricks. You probably shouldn't do that, okay? Now, let's say, for example, that you threw a brick. It slammed into a car windshield. The driver careens, hits a nearby wall. They have to go to the hospital. They're mildly injured, but...
And also, if you have weasels in Twitch chat, which you would have if you are subbed to the channel, right? If you have a sub, you have the ability to post weasels. If you are a member on YouTube, you have the ability to post weasels. I would say that this is a great time to post your weasels.
The hospital,
because this is an absolute weasel of a take here.
Scans for broken bones, it's found that they have cancer. And because it's caught early, they're able to treat it and it goes fully in remission and they're effectively cured. Now, could a person who had thrown that brick then say, well, I actually did a good thing? No. Even though the outcome of their specific action was good, this is the distinction between rule and act utilitarianism. As an act, the outcome of their action was good. That's true. There was an overall net benefit to the life of the person who...
Okay, so do you see what he said? Like, throwing a brick, into traffic is generally bad because you could cause, you could hurt somebody, you could do damage to somebody's car, or you could cause a wreck. So he's imagining a situation in which you cause a wreck. You cause the person to become injured. The person becoming injured goes to the hospital and gets some imaging done on their body. That imaging reveals early stage cancer, which is then treated only because they had to go to the hospital that day, right? That is not what he's talking about in this clip, right? He's literally saying, he's not saying that, like, I don't know what the analogy to this clip would be. Like, somebody experiences CSA and therefore they have to go to a therapist, and the therapist finds that they also have like some trauma that needs to be addressed, and it gets addressed, and it doesn't end up affecting them as much. Like, right, you really have to stretch to be able to apply the formula of what he's saying here. But let me show you this, right? Because I've got the whole thing clipped. Look, when this went down with Vosh and Luna Oi, I made a clip because I wanted people to understand, like, you know, what he's really saying. Like, he always accuses people of clip chimping him, of taking out the context, etc. So I purposefully made like a 3-minute clip here. I wanted to just have no doubt of me taking away any of the context that was there, right? And just see what he actually said, and you know, sort of make my argument about why this is wrong, what's wrong about it. I don't disagree with this conclusion, right? Me and Vosh both agree, you know, he's going to say that age of consent should be upheld. And yeah, obviously it's not something I disagree with, right? But the way that he gets there is the poison pill, is the thing that I cannot accept, and the thing that I don't think anybody else should accept. And if anybody in his community cares about him and cares about him being a responsible content creator, they should be encouraging him to just say you're wrong, right? Because this is not just wrong, but this is gross. What gets said here?
Okay, so
Yeah, opening the clan ops file.
why is it wrong to have sex with young people? Well, because generally, under most circumstances, it begets bad outcomes, okay? Are you gonna come to me if I have the fairy mask on? Please come. I want the health. Don't do this stupid you guys misunderstood bullshit. Oh, it's not that you guys misunderstood. I just think that this is very dumb for you to misunderstand this point. It's not like you guys misunderstood, it's just like this is embarrassing. Okay, look, this is super duper simple, okay? A utilitarianism, act utilitarianism, is about considering the consequences of a specific action, okay? It is
So yeah, there's the case-by-case basis in act utilitarianism.
possible. Please, please, right now, uncuck your dumb shit libcuck fucking SJW brains and recognize this empirically correct fact that I am about to spit. It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. That is possible. However,
Does it sound to anybody like he was talking about anything like the analogy of the brick, right? That incidentally, like that, I don't know, that they go with this person who you know, does bad stuff to them, but because they go with this person, they get, you know, the building that they live in got hit by a tornado, and they would have. Does anybody think that that's what's going on? Is there any claim that Vosh can lay to there's being something like incidental, right? Because, like, I mean, that's a silly that's a kind of a silly thing to bring up. But I don't think there's even a possibility. He's talking about the act itself having positive outcomes. He thinks that's possible, right? That it could have positive outcomes, but then says, but we're rule utilitarians here, and we realize that we can't make rules for every like incident, every unique case. We've got to make an overriding rule for, you know, all time, and the only responsible thing to do here is to say that age of consent exists for a reason. Yeah, I mean, this is gross. You're right, Phoenix. Normal people do not fixate on this stuff. Yeah. Look, I'm trying to look. I'm steel manning your argument as much as I can, Vosh, because you're making a weird claim here that you were trying to say that incidentally, right, this act could like have a butterfly effect. That's essentially what he's arguing. He's arguing for he's trying to retcon his take into like a butterfly effect argument, like just by the sheer virtue of the fact that you went to this place instead of that place, or you know, right, some incidental thing like, you know, had a positive outcome. That's clearly not what you're arguing for here. You're saying that the act itself could have positive consequences. That's what people are posting vomit emojis in my chat right now about, right? And if your stomach doesn't turn at this discussion, then there's something wrong with you.
Categorically, we discourage those relationships because, as a rule, it is substantially more likely that enabling them would cause harm in society. That's the difference between act and rule utilitarianism. An act utilitarian would say, oh, this is an instance where it was good.
And like, I want to remind you that like in the field of philosophy, you are not going to find a lot of act utilitarians or rule utilitarianism, because this is just not a, this is a philosophy that people learn about for its historical value, for its influence on the field of philosophy. It's generally not a philosophy that somebody applies to their, their belief system and says, like, I'm a rule utilitarian, I'm an act utilitarian. That is a philosopher that gets laughed out of academia, right?
For the adult and the minor to have sex, that would make it a good action. But the rule utilitarian, which is what I am, would say, even though that individual outcome was good, the act was still bad because, in general, in a broader application, for adults and children to have sex with one another leads to horribly destructive outcomes. For that reason, it is an unethical act. So on the off...
So basically, this is a weak argument. He's saying that the reason that, like, age of consent should be upheld is that there's more of a downside to, like, allowing it than there is to forbidding it. And that is an incredibly weak, refutation against, a point of view that somebody arguing for normalization of this kind of stuff would make.
Chance it might help someone.
He isn't even a utilitarian. I mean, he's definitely not consistent about that.
Just allow everyone to engage in a generally destructive practice, except that's the literal exact opposite of what I am saying. Do you have fucking brainworms? By Fairy 79, I literally made the opposite of that point.
Stepan's mentioning some French philosophers here. I don't know what it is about French philosophers in the 20th century, but they had Sartre, you mentioned, and also Foucault had some really messed up ideas about this.
I literally just explained the opposite of what you just said. That no, just because on the off chance it might help someone, we shouldn't categorically support one action because I am a rule utilitarian. Why do you guys keep doing this?
Okay, and he's bullying his chat about it too, right? Look, if anybody in your chat is like, vomiting, that there's a reason for that, right? You're taking them through this like weird navel gazing, like, argument.
Crashed because of the brick you threw at their window. But as a rule, the action you took and the good of the outcome.
Look at what he's doing to his community. Like, immediately, anybody that has a problem with this, and I'm talking about a problem with the that has a problem with the, like, granted clause, right? Granted that it could have positive outcomes. If you have a problem with that, you're a libcook, SJW, ID poll, woke scold, whatever. You're probably a tanky too.
Were disconnected through circumstances.
Oh my god, especially Karl Marx. Yeah, a lot of problematic philosophers out there.
You could not have predicted or accounted for. In other words, it was luck. And that means that even in instances where something is broad...
Well, this type of apology also comes up in hippie circles and other counterculture movements. Roman Polanski is a perfect example, right? There are a lot of people that like want to let what Roman Polanski did to a 13-year-old girl slide based on I guess his like they like his films.
Bad but specifically good, you can still have a rule against all of it, even when the act outcome is good. Or, to be very pointed with the analogy here, what are you talking about? I'll tell you. even if a child abuser, somebody, an adult who had sex with a person under, a kid or whatever, was like, hey, here's some hyper-specific evidence that our relationship has led to some positive outcome for the young person, you could still do the Chad face. Doesn't matter, buddy. Sorry. Put your hands forward. You wouldn't have to specifically litigate the morality of what they had done and the outcomes of what they had done, because the rule of what they have done is bad. This is
a debate, bro, getting lost in the sauce, right? If you really think that you have to go to these links to refute the claim of somebody that's exploiting a child like this, you've lost the plot, Vosh. 100%.
A distinction between act and rule utilitarianism. And it was an argument that
he wants to create a universal ethic.
Giving here. The way this is clipped makes it seem as though I'm not giving that argument, and it's purely dishonest. Nothing here is about charitability. It's purely important.
Oh. Unfortunately, another thing that does not have any charitability is the top of the hour ad break, which it looks like we're approaching. We're about 2 minutes away from that. Let me know if I'm right about that. I think that's anybody that doesn't have a sub. Let me know if that's when it happens. I think it happens on the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour. It may have to do with when I start the stream too, but I think that's how it works, right? This is something that has no charitability for you unless you are able to buy yourself a sub for $5, unless you're able to integrate Amazon Prime into your Twitch and thereby receive a free sub to give to the streamer of your choice, which hopefully, let's be real, it should be me, right? Or if you are lucky enough to be seen by a very generous, magnanimous person who is looking to bestow gift subs on those without them and thus save you from the top of the hour ad break, those are the only ways that you will get out of that.
Here's the full context of the clip. Vosh context. Vosh explains why he isn't an act utilitarian improved version.
Not that you guys miss.
From the Vosh context emporium. It's funny that like there are so many uncharitable, bad faith, dishonest attacks against me that there's like a
and look at
market.
That. Look at that. So that's his Vosh's context emporium. That is supposed to be less subscribers than my clip channel. By the way, you should follow my clip channel if you're not already. No Comment Clips. It's a great source for so much stuff. But yet you'll notice that his like context emporium, that clip is 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Look at what I did. Look at how 2 minutes and 40 seconds. All right. I wanted to steel man him as much as possible. If there was any context that ameliorates how horrible what he said was, I wanted to give it the chance to show, and it didn't.
In my community for being like, I really do resent people like Jordan Peterson who do this like, well, you need to look at my texts in order to understand what I said, because he's lying. He just says stupid shit. Whereas people just lie about me all the time. Sure, I'll watch this. I haven't seen this, maybe this crucifies me. I don't think it does, because this was more recent. I remember this full argument.
Misunderstood. I just think that this is very dumb for you to misunderstand this point.
I don't think this is that recent.
It's not like you guys misunderstood. It's just like this is
It's definitely a few years ago.
Embarrassing. Okay, look, this is super duper simple, okay? A utilitarianism, act utilitarianism, is about considering the consequences of a specific action, okay? It is possible, please right now.
This is where it gets cut.
Now uncuck your dumb shit libcuck SJW brains.
Wait. Okay, so what context are we adding? Just a second.
Okay. It's misunderstood. It's just like this is embarrassing.
Maybe this crucifies me. I don't think it does.
What context are we actually adding?
I remember this full argument.
Misunderstood. I just think that this is very dumb for you to misunderstand this point. It's not like you guys misunderstood. It's just like this is embarrassing. Okay, look, this is super duper simple, okay?
It's just him berating his chat. How does that make this better? How does that make this better? How is what he does with you have to watch the whole VOD for context different than Peterson saying you have to read everything? Yeah. Peterson and Vosh are both convinced that they are smart and that they just say words most of the time.
Utilitarianism, act utilitarianism, is about considering the consequences of a specific action, okay? It is possible, please right now.
This is where it gets cut.
Okay, so yeah, we do get the context that he's talking about the difference between act utilitarianism and rule utilitarianism, but I don't think that really gets him off the hook here.
Now uncuck your dumb shit libcuck SJW brains and recognize this empirically correct fact that I am about to spit. It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. That is possible. However,
so this would be like the brick in the windshield argument. It would be like arguing even if something horrifically...
That's not what you said. How are you shoehorning the brick over the overpass argument into this, right? Like, there's no indication that, like I said, that would be like a butterfly effect argument. He didn't say anything about that. He said like positive outcomes from the relationship, not like incidental positive outcomes due to just like random chance of you know, like, right? He's not talking about the butterfly effect here.
Stupid and bad and destructive happens. Circumstances can lead to positive outcomes for literally any bad thing.
And also, even if it was the butterfly, you know, like that's kind of a disingenuous argument either way.
You could literally argue like, you know, is wrong, but in this specific instance, when you the person, it turns out that led to them unblocking a previous memory of sexual abuse they'd had that allowed them to, like,
yeah, being abused as a kid and having that abuse recorded and distributed is nothing like having a brick thrown at your windshield.
Like, sue their husband or their father for abusing them as a kid. And it's like, does that like take away from the...
Wait, so yeah, he did. He's trying to propose that, like, you have this happen to you, then you get therapy because of that, and you recover a memory that of other abuse, and then you're able to, you know, sue the abuser or get some consequences for the abuser.
No, it doesn't.
He's really shoehorning this in.
That's the thing. Killing people is the most obvious example of... Yeah, exactly. The funny thing is, I think that in spite of like the spiciness of the take here, what I'm saying is actually not controversial. In fact, I would be suspect of anybody who disagrees, because the implication of somebody flatly disagreeing with what I've said here would be a suggestion that, like, if somehow an abuser could prove positive outcomes to their abuse, you would have to shrug and allow that? So I really...
Yo, he's doing the Luna... This is like what he does to EJ and Luna, right? So now he's making it even worse. If you disagree with him, then what you're saying is that were they to show positive outcomes, that you would have to admit that they were right. And that was okay. And then in that case, the age of consent shouldn't apply. That's not true. You haven't proved that, right? And the only reason that your chat's going along with this is because they get partway into anything that's like halfway deep and their eyes like glaze over. And they're in here because they have a parasocial attachment to you, not because they understand what you're saying. Like, there's just no way. So now disagreeing with his disgusting take means that you, what, agree with... No, and no.
I do think everyone agrees with me on this. They just
Classic
don't like
Darvo.
it being put to word, or they don't like the way it's phrased or something, but the argument is perfectly sound, and I fully stand by it.
No, your conclusion is fine, Vosh. But the even though clause within that is not. That's what people have a problem with. And I gotta say that you, like, I don't buy that he doesn't understand that. This is weasel words. This is a weasel take.
Categorically, we discourage those relationships because, as a rule, it is substantially more likely that enabling them would cause harm in society. That's the difference between act and rule utilitarianism. And act...
Man, my voice is so insufferable here. Holy shit.
Utilitarian would,
like, he's nervous because he knows he's wrong.
Say, oh, this is an instance where it
This
was
is why people hate debate bros. Yeah.
good for the adult and the minor to have sex. That would make it a good action. But the rule utilitarian, which is what I am, would say, even though that individual outcome was good, the act was still bad because, in general, in a broader application, for adults and children to have sex with one another leads to horribly destructive outcomes.
See, so this is why I say this isn't even a charitability thing. It is an objective fact of the world that this was clipped dishonestly in part of like an anti-child abuse argument. Thank you very much for the full clip, by the way, whoever linked it. And thank you, Vosh's Context Emporium. Used to sound far more homosexual. Well, I think I look more homosexual now. Look at how greasy I am back here. I don't know, man. Hit the like button. Shit, you're right. There we go. All right, so that's that one. Vosh freely admits to masturbating to child... Oh, really? Do I now? Well, that's an interesting one. This is going to be a surprise to me. I haven't seen this clip, I don't think.
Yeah, this is making me sick.
It's all over today, folks.
Nice right now. We've all jerked it to Lolly at some point.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, I remember this. Hold on. This is a bit.
Well, you don't have a penis.
This is a bit. Like, could you find a better, like, look, God, this is a bit. Okay, this is humor. This is parody. This is what are you saying? This is a bit cringe. Yeah, more than a bit cringe.
We have at some point in our lives been going crazy on some hentai site, and we've been stroking as hard and fast as we can, and then after we nut, we go back, look over our history tab, and we go like, oh geez, oh boy.
Look, best case interpretation, if this is not applicable to you, right? And this is probably why the person making this clip, you know, said that they thought he was somebody who acted on this stuff, said that you know, they called him a PDF file, right? This is probably the clip that got them to think that. But like, best case scenario, this is a bit or something like that. You just normalized. You just normalized the thing you were joking about to your chat, right? And yeah, if his point is that there's lots of like really gross hentai you know, sites that contain like inappropriate obviously, like, you know, underage characters within, you know, like, right, if that's his argument, then why are you making it into a joke, right? This isn't something that is just like a joke or funny or hypothetical, right? This is true, like, right? And yeah, there's, you know, people out there that'll defend it, right? Every time
some of these girls looked pretty young. Okay.
So you're clearly so serious here. Yeah, so the joke was I was talking with chat about how
yeah, that's like Andrew Tate claiming, that's right, Deem Stars. That's like, and it's like Andrew Tate claiming that he is just that like all the stuff that he said, basically admitting to admitting to trafficking was not real. Or
hentai sites are packed with lolicon. Tate has literally said that it's his business model. Saying this, my standard on this has not changed. Seriously, if you go to literally any hentai site and you want to not be a pedophile today, you have to like minus tag 78 different things in order to get there. So the joke here, it's called comedic hyperbole, is that you're some kind of masturbation. Sounds like people who wish harm on other people, but then say in Minecraft at the last minute. Yeah, I always like to joke about the in Minecraft thing, that like the FBI or whoever is like outside of their door, they got the SWAT team there, they're ready to come in, and then the person says, in Minecraft, and the SWAT team's like, abort, we're gonna call off this mission. Turns out that they were talking about Minecraft, not real life. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of silly. Like, if you really said something objectionable that's gonna get you, like, you know, get you taken away, probably adding appending in Minecraft to it is not gonna save it. Whirlwind, and you're like tearing your way through a hentai site, and there's just so much lolly that it's like left in your wake. Now, obviously, in real life, you're not actually a hurricane masturbator. You need to click on links to open up different stuff. You don't like thoughtlessly click through a site. The joke was that I am okay. Well, maybe some of you are. The joke of it
normalized
was that it's so omnipresent that it's just infinitely everywhere. Oh, and by the way, this is still a real issue because if you see a doujin, like a hentai doujin, where it looks good and it's like, damn, these chicks look like adults. Oh my God, look at those large tits. That's cool. What a novelty on a hentai site. And then you look at that and it's like, oh, well, that's cool. I get hard to that. And then it's like, oh, they're all like Fire Emblem characters, and they're all just like 6'5", 17-year-olds who happen to be like military commanders and have a beard or whatever. And it's like, oh, this is literally the joke of like any time that I look at a girl on stream, no matter how old she looks to be, chat's like, Vosh, she's 3. So, you know, again, if you want to be uncharitable here, like
the Minecraft thing is like to avoid TOS.
If you seriously think this is like a
Hurricane self-pleasurers is what he said.
A pedophile. This is like the most retarded admission in the universe. Phrased so clearly and so straightforwardly. But keep in mind, like, I've been an edgy boy for years now on stream where I've recorded thousands of hours of content. And as we're going to see soon, I was the same edgy boy on Discord years before having a stream. If you imagine somebody in my position is like surrounded by people who hate him and want to clip everything they can to make people think you're a bad person, I don't think it'd be that hard to do so. Think of it like this, okay? Imagine if somebody wanted to prove that like Nick Mullen from Cumtown was a pedophile. Do you think it would be that hard for them to cut together a bunch of clips?
You're a political streamer. Nick Mullen and Adam Friedland are specifically, I mean, they if they talk about politics, it's incidental, right?
I'm going to go ahead and say probably no. It'd probably actually be
there's like a huge difference here.
Extremely easy to do that if you wanted to. And people have tried. They usually Cumtown fans look at that and they go, okay, dipshit, like this is cut out of context, this is cut out of context, blah, 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 blah. The problem with me is that people hate me so much that it
Oh yeah, he said I was an edgy boy on Discord. Yeah, he's like kind of yada-yadaing, you know, being a sex pest to people and not taking no for an answer, and
like there's a disproportion.
Yeah, they're comedians. That's the difference.
An imbalance.
And the other difference is they're actually funny.
But that's
sometimes.
Life, you know. I still like my career.
Sometimes.
The replies and quotes to that were amazing. Lolicons were defending the take unironically so that it didn't implicate them. Yeah, you can tell pretty clearly. If
Lolicons were defending your take, you've got a problem, right? You literally, that's what I was saying. You're normalizing this shit. No, why are you surprised that Lolicons would defend that? Why would you be surprised then?
I was an advocate for a child pornography.
Yeah, bra moment, exactly.
Then every time I came up, lolicons and child pornographers would not quote tweet saying they hate me. Many such cases. Oh, this is.
Well, I mean, they hate you because they're Nazis usually, not because.
Also from the cult, not cult. Yeah, Cult of Dusty thing.
Not because they disagree with your normalization of their preferred online activities, right?
Here we have 11 seconds, a real upgrade in clip material length. It's only a minute, the full context of the first clip, I think it'd be good to show.
Yeah, exactly, Taco Cat. That should be a sign. That should be a sign.
How to be edgy in Google. Good channel. Good channel.
Like drawn stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Actual child pornography. How's that for a hot fucking take? Now, to clarify on this take, as I feel
right after! Literally right after! Oh my god, dude. Phenomenal.
Necessary to do so. We do not, in this country, typically criminalize people who have procured media or resources which were the product of abuse. It is not illegal to own necklaces that have slave diamonds or whatever. What are they called? Yeah, blood diamonds. Yeah, all of our clothes produced
That's
by
Vermin in the background saying, like, literally all of our clothes are produced by slave workers, which, depending on how you define sweatshop workers, you know.
sweatshops, our computers, the silicon and lithium mined from literal slaves. In our society, we have already deemed that people are not responsible for the mechanisms by which the media they consume and the content they engage with are produced. No.
Vosh yells at chat for 57 seconds. Okay.
Right now. You like that argument? Ooh, you like that? You like that moral culpability? You're all worse than CP owners, and I am too. Do you like that? No ethical consumption under capitalism. Shit sucks, right? But if we accept that argument for slave labor, then we definitely have to accept it for child pornography.
Okay, the idea that this is how a pedophile defend themselves is ridiculous. This is so obvious.
And again, that's not my contention. Like, I am not making any claim about Vosh's offline behavior, right? I don't see any evidence for that, but I do see evidence for normalization of this kind of stuff. I do see him playing around with stuff that is serious business for victims, as if it has no consequences. And like I said, you know, if there's lolicons like defending your take unironically, in you know, on Twitter or in the comments or whatever, you got a problem.
Obviously, me arguing about commodity production and trying to bait engagement with chat. The idea that, like, yeah, this is totally how a child... Am I retarded? Yes, I stand by that much. Not a pedophile. Thank you.
None of it is, yeah, I agree. None of it is ethical. But we've already made this social decision that people are not responsible.
And again, I'd say that going, you know, over the line and making that assumption about his offline behavior allows him to do that, right? He's gonna do something like that anyway. But right, it gives him a if you make like 8 claims about Vosh that are true, and then 2 claims that are not supported, which claims do you think he's gonna refute? Right? Just don't give him those extra 2. Don't give him those extra 2.
For the systems.
Yeah, he constantly dropping the R slur.
The stuff they own is produced. We've
Well,
already
that's been completely normalized now.
made that decision.
Unfortunately.
You're right, but you're kind of revealing your power level. No, this is exactly what I mean. I'm right, but I'm revealing my pedo power level because I'm right. No.
Deep Stars, was this in the vegan gains debate? Is that where this comes from? Or that's like, this is in the wake of the vegan gains debate?
This is a moral inconsistency in society. The answer should be that all of these things
Not Voosh.
are bad.
Damn!
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how much of this I can take.
Wow! There we go. Oh, man.
Yeah, he definitely debated. I think Demon Mama did too.
I can't believe I'm always right.
This was just after the vegan gains debate.
The only thing I've gotten better at is phrasing my arguments so no specific sentence gets clipped out of context, okay? Apart from that, everything that I said back then... Well, I do think there's a lot of nuance you could add to specifically clarify this, that, or the other, but like, holy shit, you know? This is... So, I'm not going over all of this, because I'm gonna...
I'm just gonna cherry pick the stuff that I can make a claim... you know, is not supported by facts. I'm just gonna stop and start the clips in a deceptive way and claim that I was taking it out of context. Yeah, like, right?
Vince, like, Marxist 777's mind, because I'm not. Andrew Tate, or sorry, Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate's brother, Tristan Tate, is also replying to this saying, like, damn, and I thought my brother should be canceled, or like, some shit like that. Like, these people's minds aren't gonna be changed. However, I go over this, now there's a log, there's an archive, it's obvious that these are dishonest smears. There's some stuff where if you wanted to be really uncharitable, you could still think that I'm sus.
What is up with Vegan Gains lately? I think I followed some of his, I think I watched some of his videos early on, but then he became like alt-right for a little while. I don't know if he's changed since then, but like I kind of stopped paying attention to him when he started being more and more red pilly.
Or whatever, but like, fine, that's your right. It's free speech, baby. You can believe that if you want. I think that I defend my due diligence here. I think I make it clear. Even back then, up to this point, it's just dishonest hacks. You know, it's people like Marxist 777, people like Bad Empanadas, people like iHypocrite, it's people like Tristan Tate. And here I am.
Everybody who says that I did something wrong is a tanky. Great.
Uncowed, undeterred, strong, thriving, moisturized, even, in my element. Refuting bad faith arguments is my element. But it's nice to know that even in the full context of these clips, taken all the way back then when my optics game was nowhere near as good, that it's still pretty clear what I'm saying. but we're nowhere near done. So this is all like the exact same argument. Oh, so this is when I talked with Vegan Gains on this.
Okay, so this is the Vegan Gains.
This is when I talked with
debate
Vegan
itself.
Gains on this subject. So because I was talking with Vegan Gains about capitalism and reactionary politics, so I brought up the whole like shirt CP thing or whatever, which having finally debated somebody on the subject, I now begin to realize this is not an effective angle at prompting critical analysis of capitalism and the abusive markets it enables.
What if CP is free? If you're not
He sounds like if you could roll arguments like a booger. Wow.
paying for child pornography, then there is no argument in favor of morally condemning people who get it.
Oh, wonder why that sentence cuts off right there. Because, as we've seen in all these before, that is because the moral argument I'm referring to is under our currently accepted standard for the acceptance of abuse in the supply lines. Oh my god, you said that well. Well, in this case, it literally clearly cuts me off as I'm saying, so this is a more dishonest clip chimp than others. You really made it easy for them? Yeah, but we've seen the arguments now, so we can fly.
I'm trying to imagine what the rest of that argument has got to be like. Like, you know, he's arguing against Vegan Gains, I guess. In the, you know, Vegan Gains says, hey, you should go vegan because it's ethical. Vosh says that there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and then goes into his argument of if you don't pay for the exploitation materials, then you've done nothing wrong. It's only if you're giving money to the person that's making those things available online. Most cursed supply line discords ever.
I buy these and get to the Discord logs. Let's go.
Ethical industry.
What is this audio?
Fucking kill me. Do you think it's immoral to be a pedophile, and it's only immoral if you rape? What? No, being a pedophile is morally neutral. Isn't that just some shit you're born with? It's pretty. It's hella immoral to rape, though. What do you?
Well, I mean, in the sense that if you're morally culpable for the actions that you hold, so if you abuse children, that's morally. I'm saying abusing children is morally wrong here.
That's a pro-maps argument. Am I wrong about that? That's literally what the maps argument is, right?
I think that if a person is has a
he's saying that the attraction is morally neutral, right? That only acts can have a moral, aspect to them, and since this is the maps argument, trying to separate the attraction from the act and say that, there are people with the attraction who don't violate don't abuse people, and that they should be understood. That's the maps argument.
Pedophilia for children. They never act
like Mr. G
on it. That the only person who's suffering there is the person who has
Mr. Girl.
This is just like a standard. I think this is literally like the idea and belief held by like modern mainstream therapy and psychoanalysis. That's not even. Why would you not?
Okay, so are we back? We might be having some frames issues for a second here. It looks like we're back. It looks like we're good. Yeah, I would like to see the bandwidth be a little bit better. Are we okay? Did I drop out for anybody? Looks like we're okay.
Clip this out to disclude the part where I say it's wrong to abuse children. Why would you not like just have the part in here to imply that I'm?
That's what maps people will say too, though. I don't like. Please, like, disambiguate your argument from just a general maps argument, because that's what I think. That's what it sounds like I'm hearing here.
Saying it's okay to abuse children. Yeah, this isn't even clipped. I think you just have to be kind of stupid to think this clip is wrong.
Jesus Christ, I didn't know he went there.
These people are the pedophile bullet therapy types. To be clear,
look, honestly, this is making me sick, and I am not getting paid enough to this is I should be getting hazard pay for this instead. Instead, this is a freebie because I love you so much, chat.
Clear, I'm okay with severe punishments for child abusers and stuff. The thing is, though, is that, and this is the thing that I've said before,
and obviously also because I feel like these arguments do real harm, and I didn't want to talk about Vosh again, but this may be the last time I have to talk about him. It's looking like this is the stuff that's coming to more and more define him outside of his own community, and that it's just, you know, it's just what it is at this point, a parasocial personality cult with no future. And
So this is like a very standard take. None of this is like
my
edgy
God.
or like hot take or whatever. If all you do is say,
I don't know if it's because I drank too much like instant green tea that I'm sick at my stomach, or if it's like what Vosh is saying that's making me sick at my stomach, but oh shit, this may be weather related. Yeah, like look, I'm gonna kind of pause again to like, there we go, that's what we like to see.
like all pedophiles get killed, then what you do is you prevent pedophiles from getting therapy, which reduces the amount of abuse that happens to children. Because you've normalized like legal standards.
No, that's not what MAPS is. MAPS is a way for them to like kind of like normalize that attraction within society, right? If you want to go and talk to a therapist, you know, that's what the therapist, like if so, God, I shouldn't say if you, right? Hopefully nobody I'm talking to, you know, has this kind of attraction, right? But like if somebody goes to a therapist and talks about this, the therapist is not going to, you know, they're not going to get, you know, put in jail unless they've done something, right? That's kind of between them and their therapist. Bringing that outside into society is kind of what the whole MAPS movement seeks to do, and that's the problem that I have with that with this argument that Vosh is making, which is literally a MAPS argument.
Which means like guaranteed reporting for their like execution or whatever. Like you're abusing more children when you do that. You literally are. The best thing that you can do to pedophiles, if they've never hurt anyone, is to make them not pedophiles. I think that would be like the best. Vosh, a lot of survivors agree with this. Yeah, no, that is a commonly held opinion in like therapy, in psychoanalysis, in psychiatric work. From like NGOs, from like
so there we go. You're either a MAP or a woke scold.
Medical organizations. From like the only place where this is
Christ.
a real
I didn't realize it was
going to
get this
actually
bad.
talk about it is right-wing people who are pedophiles because they're right-wing, screeching pedos get the bullet, and by pedos they mean gay people, and like Marxist-Leninists doing the exact same thing because Marxist-Leninists are also right-wingers, and that's it. Like, you know, there's no hot take here. Here are Discord logs.
Yo,
Discord
literally just gonna be like tankies. Yeah, but tankies though.
logs. Vosh stated there is a difference between exploring child sexuality and sexualizing children.
Also, this isn't like he's trying to make this black and white. Look, like, I mean, yeah, if somebody has something like that, they should absolutely go see a therapist. Do I want to create like a identity group for them to like, you know, put on their Twitter profiles and like normalize, right? And then try to like tack themselves onto the LGBT community? No, thank you. No, thank you. That's what transphobes are trying to do right now. Like it's important to take a stand against this map bullshit, right? It's God damn. Yeah, MLs are right wingers for not wanting maps to be an identity group that Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, so
like Luce from Owl House being bi, like sexual. Yeah, was this like in a conservative account?
Is that what he said? I thought he was just saying that MLs want these people like up against the wall.
Like if there's a show and a kid like is realizing they might be like gay, or even if they're like getting like being attracted to a girl, like if there's a straight high schooler in a TV show who's realizing they're into girls, that's literally exploring sexuality.
Right wing legends, yeah.
That's not sexualizing a person. That, yeah. So yeah, there's not even anything to defend there recently. Okay. Vosh then went on to joke about owning CP. Two DePest men says, ooh, this looks good. Vosh says, oh, we're on child porn now. That's cool. Buys Magatama with Maca says, at Vosh, show us your CP collection. I bet Irish Laddie loves CP. Because at the time I wasn't called Vosh, I was called Irish Laddie. And then I replied with,
Yeah,
Okay.
and he changed that. Here, let's go forward. If we're on Discord logs, there's one more thing that I'm interested in Vosh's explanation. Oh my god, come on.
I was in that Discord quite a lot. Yeah, this was back in 2017. This was 6 years ago. I don't remember saying, "Oh, so if we're okay with I adults and minor," and I said, and an image of their account suspended of a blonde chick with a facial, like somebody had nutted on her face. I think this was back in like 2016 or 17 or something like that.
So this is all in the Destiny Discord.
There's a lolly problem in hentai or whatever. Okay, this isn't students or
Why is he
older.
looking
They look
at
like adults.
What? Oh, is he pointing out that Persona? Yeah. These are like 17-year-olds. The characters they're in like high school, right? What I don't understand how P5 is a coat for Vosh. Wait, what the fuck? Why are you bringing the Phantom Thieves into this, Vosh? God damn it.
But the character designs in Persona do not look like your standard like high school teenagers. If you showed me these guys and didn't tell me anything, I would assume they were college students.
I would assume that they could be underage. Am I wrong? Like they're not drawn like 25-year-olds. They're drawn in an ambiguous way on purpose because like in generally like an anime the way that anime is produced is that it knows that gaze that's interested in like, you know, younger it's a weird thing that they do. It's actually complicated. The reason, you know, part of it is because high school is really tough in Japan and people like remember their high school years. It's like a very, you know, it's even more like of a formative sort of time than it is in the United States. There's also you know, the fact that there is an interest group in like, you know, looking at younger people like that, and some of the, like, you know, when they produce anime, they're sort of producing it with that gaze in mind as part of the audience, and it's just like, you know, they kind of know that it's out there. They don't want to signal too hard to it. They don't want to do something that goes over the line. But yeah, like, I don't know why this is a, like, yeah, look, you know, anime culture has a problem with this, like, right? That's
or older.
Undeniable.
They look like adults to me. They're all 6, sometimes 7 heads tall, but no, they're high schoolers. So I've said on stream, like, I think it's kind of that they have all these like cool, cute character designs, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, they're all like high school seniors. Really? do they? Why? Why would you do that? And the reason they do that is because, well, Japan has really weird standards when it comes to high school and the way people are presented in high school, and like everything is about high school. It's complicated, and it's not even relevant to what we're going on about right now.
Yeah, I don't know why you pulled the Phantom Thieves into this. This is like
for a show that I hadn't seen at the time. Vosh said, while talking about Owen Benjamin, apparently, statistically speaking, there are 370 people watching right now. I'd be willing to bet at least 20 or 30 of them experience habitual child attraction towards children. It's surprisingly common. Yeah.
High school in East Asia is unfortunately a hellscape. Blame the CIA for creating a right-wing capitalist party in Japan. That they've had for years and years. It's same thing with South Korea and Taiwan. Absolutely. Oh my god, I can't believe he brought the Phantom Thieves into this. This is... Come on.
In a way that can lead to like really pernicious outcomes. I fully stand by. I mean, I don't know the math on 20 or 30, like 5% of the people watching or whatever. I don't know.
Thank you for the sub, anonymous gifter. OAS Music. You just got saved from the ad break. Now, some of you might have just experienced an ad break. I think it happened like 5 minutes ago. There's another one coming up in 25 minutes. So if you don't want to be a part of that ad break, then this is the time to be looking for a way to get one of those little Persona 2, not Persona 5 icons by your name. To like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, you know, this is like, look, Maya at least is... Maya's out of high school. Maya's canonically 19. I don't know why they since then they've just like been like the characters are always high school age.
The exact
I guess Final Fantasy is, are they moving away from that?
Numbers on that. I didn't do that data gathering, you know. But here we'll watch Oh
no, somebody was telling me, I can't remember, there's some Atlas game though that like is not because like a lot of these RPGs are set in like high school.
But by and large,
Oh yeah, the fact that the jailbait subreddit was one of the most popular subreddit on Reddit for years and years and years. It isn't like one of the current admins.
Okay, so wait, he's saying, okay, so this is a tweet where he says, there's 370 people in here right now. Statistically speaking, there's at least 20 or 30 of them experiencing attraction to minor. This is literally some map shit. God, I didn't realize. This is actually worse than I thought it was going to be. There's one set of Discord logs that I am looking to see what he has to say about them, because it's like,
You know,
like I said, I'm more like, I mean, he did real harm to a real person. I believe maybe more than one real person in terms of things that he said to people in DMs on Discord that he met in the Destiny Discord, right? There's one example of is this it? Ew. Why? Oh my god.
on that one.
This isn't it,
And
though.
I have been clear for basically the entirety of my channel on the opposite of this argument, the idea that that isn't acceptable to say. But it is important to be critical, you know. I'm not saying that like everything said against me is wrong, but notice how these guys didn't even realize how it was wrong. They thought that it was me being a pedophile. In reality, it was me doing toxic masculinity, but they didn't even know. So, right, you know, I'm just saying, like it's existence anymore.
He's not gonna talk
person?
about it. He's not
I
gonna
don't
talk
know.
about it.
Influenced by pedophiles really makes you wonder. All right,
That was
my
definitely in the threads, right? So
777
what I'm
person?
talking
I
about
don't know.
is the person that he actually yeah, there was somebody that that Vosh actually like creeped on in Discord. This is the thing. This is the reason that he's Vosh instead of Irish Laddie, right? So, God. See, like, I could go to a Destiny video and show you exactly what happened. Unfortunately, that's Destiny. Destiny is a banned streamer on Twitch, and I am not trying to join him as a banned streamer, so we can't watch the Destiny clip. But Vosh was in the Destiny Discord, basically. He's wrong in a not wrong way. I don't even know. There's so much like weasel, so many weasel words in here. But yeah, one of the worst things that he's done, the thing that's like I mean, I guess we could. God, I don't want to watch this. But if he's not going to talk about it, we might as well.
Collapsed, knowing that I had been raped by my ex-boyfriend. We'll be returning to that title later, but first, I just wanted to jump straight to Ian's confession, which reads, as of March 31st, 2019, I have admitted I sexually harassed Poppy and acknowledged my wrongdoing. I have since gone on to reaffirm my wrongdoing dozens of times, on stream and off, to as many people and audiences. Now, one thing that's missing from
So yeah, this is the thing that he did right before he blew up. Right in Destiny's Discord, he was outed as having basically, you know, pushed a sexual conversation on somebody that was very emphatic about not wanting to happen, not wanting to have a sexual conversation with him. This is a person who literally just wanted to debate Vosh, right? They're in Destiny's Discord. They're fans of Destiny. They're debate people, right? And this person wanted to debate Vosh because Vosh is a debater. And funny enough, you know, it was about Jesus. They like, you know, it was probably like an atheism versus Christianity debate that this person wanted to have, right? However, Vosh had no interest in that. Vosh only had interest in pushing the conversation in a sexual direction, to which the person involved, you know, said that they were not interested in. And, you know, despite that person emphatically, asking him to stop, he refused to stop, right? He did make an apology. He did make a confession. He did this because he had to. But before doing that, he changed his name from Vosh to Irish Laddie. He had, there's a screenshot. I don't know if Ethel's got this screenshot here, but there's a screenshot of White Nervosa, his current sysop, talking about, their little, she called it a trickery do to get him out of culpability for these charges. And that's kind of where this all came from.
Ian's post is the extent of what he did to
Yeah, Destiny banned him off the Discord. Like, Destiny, and that's so weird, because, like, Destiny at one point was like, yeah, this guy's a creep, this guy is, I think he may have even used the word predator. I'm not entirely 100% on that, but, like, he brought him on to face him with these charges. Vosh tried to weasel, and Destiny wasn't having it. However, because he continued to be like a to have an audience, right? Because there was clout in it, Destiny continued to engage with him after that. So this isn't like, like you're tempted to think like Destiny did the right thing. Destiny did the right thing in confronting him about it and outing this, right? And then he went on to do content with him anyway. So nobody comes out of this this story looking good.
Poppy. Because whilst any form of sexual harassment is
Voosh and SDL, God,
too much, Ian took things to an extreme degree. I just want to read you 2 excerpts from Poppy's testimony to show you what I mean. Be warned, they are incredibly graphic.
Okay,
Also
I don't know
note
if we
a
can handle
copy of-
that. Okay.
Keynote, nowhere does Ian challenge Poppy's accusations of rape threats in his Reddit post, likely due to the facts that he was made to stop by others, meaning
so he makes an apology. He admits to it, right? But the stuff that he admits to is like she's saying, or like the actually, I'm not sure the person involves pronouns. I better just go with they. But what they're saying is that, like, basically there was a lot done to silence the victim before the admission, before the apology. And that's the kind of stuff that, like, okay, I mean, like, look, it's good to apologize, especially we're only 3 likes away from our target. Yeah, hit that like button. Oh my God, chat, I don't know. This is making me sick here. This is making me sick. Like, look, I do believe in, rehabilitation, and that, people can do bad things and apologize for them, and that, like, I'm not somebody that, like, is like a carceral leftist or anything like that. But as far as, like, should somebody be, like, trusted with the power of a content creator after this kind of stuff? Absolutely not. Oh God, he said that? Oh no, SDL said that. Wow. Deemstars, thank you for the $5 super chat. RIP monetization, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I shouldn't have even tried to monetize the
witnesses. In fact, nowhere are details of what he actually did to Poppy shared in said post, with Ian merely talking in vague terms, which is another fact we'll be returning to later. But focusing on the confession itself, that alone should have ended Ian's career as a streamer. Why? Well, because once you've shown yourself to be a sexual predator, you cannot be trusted in any sort of position of power. That's whether you're a politician, a doctor, or a streamer. Anything that could give you undue influence over others, like audience members, is something.
I remember this stuff that Vosh did was before he even had, like, this, community, this clout, this power over people, right? This is what Vosh just did in Destiny's Discord.
You have to be barred from for life. Because a sexual predator, whether they claim to have seen the error of their ways or not, can't be trusted. period. The risks involved are too great, and said positions are a privilege, not a right. Sadly, we don't live in a perfect world, meaning that besides doctors who risk losing their medical license, most people in positions of power or influence, like Ian, are completely unaccountable. About the worst that can happen is they lose patrons.
So, like, and I might get into this later on, right, if I ever do a video about this, but there's a similarity in Vosh's rise to power and Trump's rise to power. Now, please don't take that the wrong way. I'm sure that could get clipped out of context and be interpreted as me saying that Vosh has a Trumpian worldview, that he's a pro-MAGA, right? I'm not saying anything like that. Obviously, he doesn't agree with Trump on politics, but in terms of his rise to power, a lot of it was done through like courting controversy and then dissipating that controversy within his own community, right? This is and sort of like, you know, it's this combination of like, he gets exposed, there's a certain amount of people that just don't care, and they see some value in him that they like. I mean, like, this is a perfect description for White Nervosa, somebody who actually tried to help him escape these charges by changing his name before any of this was exposed by Destiny.
Which, considering how toxic Ian's fanbase is, yeah, not likely to happen. That said, it's still worth a try, and if nothing else, I can at least warn others to keep them safe. Because it's important to note that Poppy isn't Ian's only victim. Another person who came forward is Pastel, someone who Ian goes out of his way to disparage throughout his Reddit posts, claiming that they simply lied. Ian concludes his piece by deciding for himself that his actions towards Pastel do not constitute sexual harassment, stating, "While I cannot see eye to eye with you in regards to your characterization of my behavior as sexual harassment, that does not mean I treated you well. There were clearly points of discomfort I pressed through, warning signs I should have heeded but didn't, and signals I prioritized over others." I just need to cut in here, since what Ian admits to doing is quite literally a textbook definition of sexual harassment. If you pressed through other people's discomfort towards your sexual advances, that means you are making unwanted sexual advances. That is the literal definition of sexual harassment. And the fact that Ian acknowledges this means that on some level,
And the fact that he had enough of a parasocial cult of personality even before becoming like his own streamer, even while just being like his fame was being a Destiny caller, right? His rise to prominence was that, like, you know, people call into Destiny's not call in, but, you know, they're on Discord with Destiny, they talk to Destiny, they argue with Destiny, and Vosh is somebody who kind of held his ground against Destiny. Most of the callers, if they had a disagreement with Destiny, would not, right? So that was his claim to fame. Even just with that, there was like a cult of personality. In fact, some of these people are still, like Vosh's sysadmin, are still around Vosh that like literally wanted to help him get away with this kind of harassment, right? With this kind of, you know, continued pushing of boundaries against people that were asking him not to, right? There are screenshots of like a number of people jokingly calling themselves the Vosh Intelligence Agency, the VIA, in order to protect, at the time, Irish Laddie from any culpability. They needed him to become a political pundit. They needed him to become a political figure. And they didn't care who they had to run over to get there, right? And, you know, they were absolutely, like, I don't know what the fuck their excuse is, right? It's not just Vosh that has something to answer for here. It's a lot of the people around Vosh. It's a lot of the enablers of Vosh. It's a lot of the people that work in the very infrastructure of Vosh's website that have something to answer for here. The crunchy left grifter that is actually a Creeposaurus Rex. Yeah, color me unshocked.
He was aware of what he was doing at the time.
God.
That none of his fanbase seemingly called him out on this basic fact. is really telling of just how toxic parasocial relationships between streamers like Ian and their fan bases really are, particularly when mixed with rape culture like this. What's more is, this comes after Ian has attacked Pastel's character, undermining their perception of what was done to them.
Oh, okay, so Pastel, uses they, them.
This is just straight up gaslighting, something
Not
Ian
sure about
continues
Poppy.
to utilize throughout the rest of his statement, adding that, "It's obvious I caused you distress, you fasted afterwards. I don't accept responsibility for your decision to purge yourself of sin, but I do accept responsibility for leading our relationship to a place where you felt that was necessary. I was inconsiderate and brazenly confident in the worst ways, and for that I am sorry." This is Ian telling Pastel, his victim, how they felt about what he did to them. This is supposed to be Ian taking accountability for his actions, yet what it really boils down to is a continuation of violence against his victims. So when Poppy mentions 2 other victims who want to remain anonymous, considering that Ian has not only confirmed that he had sexually harassed both of the people who had publicly accused him, but that he continues to target them whilst pretending like he's apologizing, I have no reason whatsoever not to believe her. It is fucking terrifying to go up against your abuser, particularly one with a large platform. Ian has done nothing but prove himself to be a sexual predator on multiple accounts, and there is nothing in this post or in his present behavior that leads me to believe that he has changed.
So yeah, there's an attempt to smear these people. There's an attempt to smear the victims of Vosh. There's an attempt to silence the victims of Vosh. This attempt was enabled by people like Vosh's sysadmin, who years later tried to smear me, like tried to blame like harassment that was being done to me, on me, based on nothing, right? And they were silly enough to make really specific claims that I was able to falsify by just looking at the times of the post in question and being able to show that I was pretty busy with my video game at the moment. So, you know, this is somebody that has like a track record of hurting people in order to enable Vosh. And they hurt me too. They tried to take my channel down like 3 separate times, maybe 4 separate times, right? There were bogus DMCA claims filed against me on YouTube, ones that YouTube rejected. YouTube looked at it and said, that is transformative content. That is not a, that's not a valid claim, right? And they kept on doing it over and over again, right? This is, it's not just Vosh, it's all the stuff that's surrounding him. It's the whole network of people that surround him that has been allowed to go on for years and years and years, harming people, harassing people, and just anything in the service of their parasocial daddy. And I feel like threads like this, as much as I said, Marxist 777 may have like made some claims that aren't exactly supported by evidence, but I'm generally in favor of some of the stuff that they're exposing, even though I would prefer that they stick to the claims that they do have claims there that are supported by evidence. And you gotta stick to those. But yeah, this is a reason that people keep on bringing this up. This isn't like Vosh will play it off like there's Vosh derangement syndrome. Again, he got that idea from Trump derangement syndrome, which is what Trump claims. Anytime somebody exposes something that Trump has done that's horrible, they're like, oh, it's like Trump derangement syndrome. Orange man bad, Vosh bad. Like everything that he does, there's like a parallel to Vosh's climb to power and Trump's climb to power. And like as we see like Trump's reality checks start to bounce as he comes up against charges he can't get out of, we're starting to see Vosh's reality checks bounce as he comes up against accusations that he cannot slap away.